Welcome back to Low Stress Math with Mrs. Bono. We are in Book 2 of Algebra Prep, Chapter 3, Writing Equations and Linear Functions, and Lesson 6, Functions. So we talked about functions briefly, but now we're going to do some definitions and be a little more clear about what a function is. So a function is a rule that assigns each input exactly one output. Functions occur when every x value is associated with exactly, I wrote on, and you know I meant the word one y value. X values do not repeat, ever. Well, yeah, they do repeat, but if they start repeating, well, guess what? They're not a function anymore. So, to test whether or not a table or a set of ordered pairs represents a function, look to see if each input or x value has exactly one output or y value. So, we'll see better in a minute when I do some examples. If a graph represents a function, it should be able to pass the vertical line test. And I can hear you. I know you learned this last year and you don't remember. It's okay to not remember every single little thing you ever did. We are going to be doing a lot of vertical line tests. So by the end of this year, you should remember next year what a vertical line test is. So this means that any vertical line drawn on the graph, and remember vertical is up and down the y direction. This means that any vertical line drawn on the graph should intersect the graph at exactly one point. Now remember, it's over, we had a break. So the graph is the points on the line on a grid. The graph is the line or the wavy looking object or the points, the dots. That's the graph. The graph is not the grid in the background. Be careful. All right, let us chat a little bit about, so from the following mapping diagram, that's what this is called. This is a mapping diagram. We're going to create a table of values, a set of ordered pairs. Let's call this a set here. A set of ordered pairs and a graph. So we're going to take the values from here, and this is the input. This is the output. Sometimes we call it the x values or the y values. I'm just going to put a little box around this so that it doesn't get all messed up in there. So the x values and the y values. Now, remember, back up here, it said we're going to look to see if the x values repeat. If the x values repeat, it's not a function. So right here, I can tell you the 2 goes to the -1. Then 3 goes to -3, but 3 also goes to 4. See how there's 2 rays emanating from the 3? That means that that 3 is actually a repeating x value. So this is not a function. And how do I know? Because this 3 has 2 lines coming from it. Let's put these numbers into a table so it's a little easier to see. The x value is 2, the y value is -1. So 2 corresponds to -1. 3 to -3, and 3 to 4. I almost said 4 to 4. You can't do that, Bono. 4 goes to 6. And it's a little easier to see here that the x value repeats. And that's not a function. Actually, I'm going to put a puffy cloud of happiness around here because none of this is going to make it a function. It's just a different way to write the same information. This is the data that we're given. You can write it in mapping notation or a table of values or a set of ordered pairs. So it's easier for me to see it from the table of values, but I could easily look up here and do it too. But 2, -1, and 3, -3, and 3, 4, and 4, 6, those are all my sets of ordered pairs. An ordered pair is inside parentheses, and a set is inside curly brackets. So these are curly brackets, those are parentheses, and an ordered pair means that it's a pair of numbers where the order is important. In other words, the first value here, those are the x values, the second is y. And I'm looking at the x values because when the x repeats, not a function. Now I'm going to graph my ordered pairs. 2, -1, 3, -3, down here, come on, Bono, be better than that. 3, +4, and 4, +6. So up here is 4, 6, and here is 3, 4, and down here is 3, -3, and over there is what, 2, -1. Now see how I'm not connecting those points? Nothing here told me to connect the points, so I'm just graphing the points that are given. Now, how do I know that this is not a function just by looking at it? Well, see if I draw a line through here, it only goes through that one point. But if I draw a line through here, which of course I'm going to do, you see how this vertical line goes through 2 points? That means this fails the vertical line test because my x value 3 is repeating. So this failed or fails the vertical line test. Okay, so 4 different ways to write a function, and every single one of them tells you it's not a function because the x value repeats. It's failing the vertical line test, the x value repeats. I have it as a list, the x value is repeating. The x value repeats. And here it has 2 arrows coming, well, not arrows, 2 rays coming from the 3. It fails the vertical line test. All right, let's take a look on this page. Ooh, was that example a function? Absolutely not. No. This is not a function. Because, now you can't see, it says explain your reasoning. You can't just say no. You have to say no because, so it's not a function. The x value, 3, repeats. And the graph of the function, well, the graph, it's not a function, it's a relation, but the graph fails the vertical line test. For the next ones, determine whether or not each of the following represents a function. Explain your thinking. Okay, so I'm going to take a little breath here. You pause the video and try the problems. Did you pause the video? Come on, pause the video and try the problems. All right, welcome back. Let's go over a few of these. Now remember, I'm only looking at the x values. I'm looking at the input. I'm looking at the first coordinate in each pair. I'm only looking for the x's. Oh, my x's. Okay, so here, the x values do not repeat. So this is a function. My thinking, the x values don't repeat. Now for this one, I'm only looking at the first coordinate, the x coordinate. And you see here, this x and this x are the same. So this is not a function. The x values repeat. The x value 6 repeats. How about this one? 0, 1, 2, 3. This one's good. This is a function. The input does not repeat. Right now, let's take a look at this for the vertical line test. Remember, I'm looking at the vertical lines. Those are the lines that go up and down. So I'm just tracing some of the vertical lines here. At least I'm trying to. I'm not very good at it. But none of these vertical lines cross this graph at more than one spot. Look at that. Every one of those lines only crosses the graph at one place. That means that this passes the vertical line test. This is a function. It passes the vertical line test. All right, the next four. There. Here we go. Again, only looking at the x values. Only looking at the first coordinate in a pair, the input. Let's look at these. -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. None of those repeat. This is a function. X values don't repeat. It was supposed to be a comma. And now, I'm not actually going to draw it. I'm just going to sort of go over this. But you could see if I was drawing lines, none of them would repeat. None of them would hit the graph. Even though it's curvy and wavy, no vertical line would go through 2 points. So this is a function because it passes the vertical line test. So I passed the vertical line test. Now on this one, look at this. It does. I only have to draw one vertical line. And if it touches more than once, and this one touches 3 different times, that is not a function. It fails the vertical line test. That's a failure. All right, let's look at this. X is 3, X is 4, X is 5, X is 6. Well, that definitely does not repeat, so this is a function. The X values do not repeat. Yay! All right. 76 and 77 are a U-triad. Pause the video and try the problems. You never learn math if you don't try it. I'll wait. Did you turn off the video? Turn off the video. Try the problems. Come back. All right, you're back. So what am I looking at? I'm looking at the x values. It's always the x values. It doesn't matter if the y's repeat. The x's do not. This is a function. X values don't repeat. Okay, let's take a look at this. -2, 3, -4, -2, and 0. Oh, darn it. Look, this x value, -2, repeated. Dang, dang, dang. So this is not a function. The x value, -2, repeats. Darn it. Now let's take a look at this. Well, guess what? This is failing that vertical line test. I can only draw one line through a point here. I can only draw one line through a point here. But when I draw my line, look, it goes through two different points. This is not a function. It fails the vertical line test. All right, this last one, I'm only looking at the input values. 0, 1, 2, 3. See how there's only one line coming out of each of these? That means that even though they all point at 5, so 0, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, it doesn't matter 5, as long as it does not repeat. The x values do not repeat, so it is a function. This is a function. X values do not repeat. All right, let's take a look down here. The set of ordered pairs shown below is missing an x value. It's right there. Give an example of an x value that would result in y as a function of x. So we have 9, 0, 4. Those are the only numbers I can't pick. I'm going to pick 5. So if x equals 5, if that was a 5, then it's a function because nothing repeats. Give an example of an x value that would not result in y as a function of x. 9, 0, 4, any one of those numbers. I like 4. I'm going to say x equals 4, and it would not be a function anymore. All right. I'm hoping you did the next page. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Well, right off the bat, I could see that this is not a function. It has a circle, which means it's touching at 2 points. It's not a function. I could draw all the vertical lines I want. This is a function. I can trace all these vertical lines, all of them. Guess what? That's a function because nothing is going to touch twice. Even though it's weird looking, it's got like an arm and a little cup here, it's still a function. So is this one. This is a quadratic function. Remember we talked a little bit about quadratic equations. They have x squared, but it looks like a parabola. Not a parabola, stop saying it wrong, parabola. And that means that none of these x values are repeating. I could draw all these lines and nothing would repeat. It is a function. Oh darn, look at that. Here, one vertical line right there, touches twice. Darn it, that is not a function. Lots of vertical lines, none of them repeat. That's a function. Ooh, this is tricky. It's a triangle. It's a tricky triangle. Here we go. If we trace one of the vertical lines, it's definitely going to touch twice. Not a function. Lots of vertical lines, definitely a function. Ooh, what's that? I don't know. It's like a hiccup or something. Here we go. It's touching twice, so it is not a function. All right, well, your homework is the next page where it says, not that, page 78 is your homework. Identify the functions. Good luck. You can do this. Take care.